sugar. Oh, honey, honey, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. Honey, oh, sugar, sugar, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. I just can't believe the loveliness of loving you. I just can't believe it's true. I just can't believe the wonder of this feeling too. I just can't believe it's true. Ah, sugar. Oh, honey, honey, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. Oh, honey, oh, sugar, sugar, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. When I kissed you, girl, I knew how sweet a kiss could be. I know how sweet a kiss can be. Like the summer sunshine, pour your sweetness over me. Pour your sweetness over me. Oh, sugar, sugar on me, honey. Pour little sugar on me, baby. That's so sweet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pour little sugar on me. Oh, yeah. Pour little sugar on me, honey. Pour little sugar on me, baby. I'm gonna make life so sweet. Yeah, pour little sugar on me, honey. Ah, sugar. Honey, honey. You are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. Oh, honey, sugar, sugar, you are my candy girl. Oh, cheesy.
Because of fucking nuts. I'm not sure whether
I shouldn't be
I'm
laughing at this
fucking
shit.
nuts or am I just fucking nuts? Is it that I'm humping like fucking nuts? Or am I just nuts?
Oh, shut up, Fancy. Fuck's sake.
I'm sorry.
I'm not supposed to be laughing. This is
cool.
serious.
But you are funny because you're fucking nuts.
Because of your fucking nuts.
Banksy, behave yourself.
You fat.
That sick individual. Hello, good evening, and welcome, as the great Dave Allen used to say. Yeah, there'll be a few of you who don't remember who Dave Allen is. Anyway, so this is my thoughts on the people you watch every day, the people you listen to every day, and I'm a bit worried that a few of you are getting brainwashed to the point of stupidity. You know, but it's up to you guys. I'm not telling you who to like or dislike. I'm just giving you my honest views on some people. Now, we're going to start at the top of the alphabet, and I'm going to go through. Now, this might have to be in 2 parts. I don't know. It depends. But I want to start with that sick individual known as Afghan. Now, Afghan gets away with a lot of vile words. And the reason he gets away with it is because he says it in such a way that he's always attacking a minority that's on the panel, so he can engage with the majority that's on the panel. That's the way Afghan works. He would never come onto a panel and disagree with the minority. No, and agree with the minority and disagree with the majority of people that are on that panel. He always goes on the side of the majority. Afghan cannot be believed. Afghan has made various claims in his little YouTube world. I mean, we did have a few years free of him, and it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it when Afghan wasn't around. He doesn't particularly worry me now, but he is a nonsensical clown. I mean, he's made lots of claims. He now claims he never fought for the Afghan National Army. Well, I can remember him saying he was part of the Afghan National Army. And then I remember him going into detail of how they would murder their enemy, kind of thing, and what they would do, and how they were nothing like the British soldiers who tiptoed around, apparently. But no, the Afghan National Army, they got in there and didn't mind cutting people open. He went into great detail about it. And he pretends to be this fantastic, virtuous individual. He's not. He's sick. He's sick in the head. That's my honest view. I view Afghan as sick. Like some people like to claim I'm racist. I view him as a very sick individual. I view him as somebody who, let me put it now, who doesn't know whether he likes living in Great Britain or not, but has that many supposed enemies around the world. He wouldn't be safe anywhere else because he hates the Russians. He can't stand the people of the Ukraine. He hates the Israelis. He can't stand Americans. He seems to have a lot of enemies all around the world. And the only place, this little Hmong has been able to sell is here in the UK. And when he opens his mouth, 2 or 3 seconds in, he will start with his vile rhetoric of racism, hate towards British people. It's always British people, we're the bad guys again. To whichever ethnic group he feels he's been badly done by at that time. But they must be the majority on whatever panel he's sitting, you see. He could, like I said, he'll never go against the majority. He'll always be with the majority and attack the minority. So he's guilty of the very thing that he claims is going on in this country right now. He does it every day. I've never seen him do anything else. And for the life of me, I do not understand. Well, I do understand people who like Afghan because what they use them as a weapon. So when you're on a panel and if he's on there and individual can't win a argument or whatever, bring in Afghan because Afghan will go lower than anyone else. Literally, he will bring up anything. He's a horrible individual, and for the life of me, I don't understand people who like this man. I don't. When I see people going, hi, Afghan, I think, why are they saying hi to him? Do they not realize that, you know, he'll turn at any moment on them? I just don't get it. But anyway, yeah, he's a horrible individual. He's sick. He should be on the watch list with the things he comes out with, the lies he tells. I mean, apparently he was, he's been a part of so many armies. It's unbelievable. At one point, I think he said he was in the Afghan National Army and was attached to the SAS. I mean, I've never heard nothing so fucking stupid in all my life. I'm not saying that someone who was in the Afghan National Army couldn't be attached to a unit of the SAS, but it certainly wouldn't have been fucking Afghan. And the reason I say that is because he doesn't have the qualities to be attached to the SAS. And if he was attached to the SAS, right, he would have kept his fucking mouth shut. This is what I mean, right? He's full of fantasy and lies, and people fall for it day in and day out. And the worst people who fall for it sit on Belly's channel. Khan, Buddha, Commie Steve, right? Let me think now. Yeah, and a few others. They fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker. They believe he's been virtuous and honest and true when every word that comes out of his mouth is a lie. So yes, I'm afraid Afghan would have to go into room 101 and stay in room 101. I would not allow Afghan. No, room 101 for Afghan. So down you go, Afghan. Boop, out the way. So let's see now. A, B. Who have we got? B. Well, we've got Baz. Baz is harmless. I see Baz as a harmless individual who tries to get on with most people, but he can say some very silly things at the most inappropriate times. But I don't see Baz as a I do not see Baz as a nasty individual. No. I see Baz as just somebody that likes to keep up with what's going on, but is never quite sure of what is going on. But in the heart of him, he's not cruel. He's not nasty. Yeah. Baz, not a lot to say, really. He wouldn't go into room 101 because there's nothing wrong with the individual. In fact, he's quite comical. There's only one black mark against him at the moment, and I think I'll be removing that black mark because I think the good parts of Baz outweigh the other bit of Baz, if you know what I mean. He's all right, Baz. So Baz is not going into room 101. Not a chance. C. Who have we got? Who have we got now with the name of Cara? The Scottish lady Cara. She's another one. No harm. Wouldn't cause anyone any harm. Isn't around a lot lately. Haven't seen her around for a bit, but when she has been around, she hasn't really done anything. Always pleasant, always nice. I haven't got a problem with Cara at all. C again. There must be more C's than Cara. Sorry, but it's hard because I've known so many people over the years. C. I can imagine you shouting different names out at me. C. Who is the good name? C. Cara. Carol. No Carols. I'll leave C for the moment. D. Well, we've got Dave. Now, I used to like Dave, right? And there's still a part of me that still likes Dave, although Dave hates my guts. You know, I don't play that game of I've got to hate you because you hate me. So I used to like Dave, but I'm afraid Dave's obsession with Tommy stops me from getting to know more about what Dave's about. He never used to be this obsessional, but he certainly is. I think everyone knows that Dave has an obsession over Tommy Robinson. And anyone connected with Tommy Robinson, there's this, like in the inner circle, Dave has a pure obsession, and it stops people from getting to know him, because what happens is he goes onto a panel and you can guarantee within minutes he'll pull the conversation onto Tommy Robinson for some strange reason. Apart from his obsession with Tommy Robinson and his and what happens is because of his obsession with Tommy, if he comes across you and you don't agree with him about Tommy Robinson or any of the in crowd, if you like, he then turns fully against you. He then decides you're a person that's not worthy of his time. I don't like that kind of arrogance, you see. Because I think he forgets how he was pulled up from the gutter on these panels. I think he needs to remember that. But he's let himself down in the fact that no one can get to know him, because all he does is spout Tommy Robinson, put videos of Tommy Robinson up, and that's it. And when he does talk, he talks about stuff that is not really relevant. I don't kind of get it. But yeah, it's a shame about Dave that he doesn't come through more with his own personality and leave the Tommy Robinson stuff to the people that deal with Tommy Robinson. Because, you know, just reposting constantly videos of Mr. Robinson isn't really going to get you anywhere. There's millions of people that do it. I'm sure he doesn't need another, but that's up to Dave, you know, if he wants to, if he thinks that's the way forward, if he sees Tommy Robinson as the savior of this country, well, you know, hey, who am I to say that he's wrong, you know? I'm not going to say that he's wrong at all. That's his belief, and he has a right to have that belief. Would I put Dave in room 101? No, I wouldn't. No. So at the moment, we've got the just Afghan in room 101, all on his lonesome. D, who else do we know with the name begins with D? Dave. Oh, dear me. How could I miss out B? Bleeding Heart. So all was well with Bleeding Heart, if you like. Well, not well, but there was a kind of mutual understanding that I could no longer be bothered to get involved in the hate fest that Bleeding Heart loves so much, right? And everything was fine. And then recently, she's she's you see, I was tolerating her. I mean, in a big way, tolerating her, right? Because I agree with nothing she says. I don't agree with anything that woman has to say. And I was finding it quite easy to tolerate her because what's the word now? She doesn't mean anything to me. So I was beginning to find it. And it's so much easier when you just tolerate people and not get into arguments with people. So, yeah, I was finding that quite easy. But then all of a sudden, she just turns and decides that she's going to be little Miss fucking nasty and spiteful again. And for the life of me, I don't know why, right? But then again, what I have to do is look at her personality from the beginning when she appeared, right? I already knew of her. And the reason I knew of her was because of Cam. Now, Cam hadn't done anything nasty to her. What Cam had done was, when I'd fallen out with Cam that time, Cam, I've said this before, Cam kept telling me that there was a lefty that had made a video saying that Cam hangs out or talks to an English woman who hates the Irish, right? And that woman was me. So for weeks, I didn't believe a word that Cam said. You know what we can be like on these panels. And then I decided, oh, hang on, she's put a link in to this so-called channel. Let me go and have a look at it. And sure enough, there it was. Yeah, Bleeding Heart. And there was the video. And I thought, okay, noted. I'll keep my mouth shut from now on. And I won't mention Cam. I didn't want to get Cam into any more aggravation than the woman already has to put up with. And lo and behold, I don't know, months later, I mean, I don't know, quite a while later, this Bleeding Heart appears on Brian Hurl's panel. And she's already decided who she's going to like and who she's not going to like. This is the thing, you see, because she'd already been around. She'd been around under another name, getting involved in the chat, never going on to panels, but being involved because she obviously knew about Cam. And she obviously had my video claiming I was some English woman that hated the Irish, which is completely untrue. I don't hate them at all. I've got no reason to. If anything, I feel sorry for them at the moment. I mean, go figure that. Who would have thought? I do actually feel sorry for what's happening to their country. But so this woman was already around and had decided who she was going to like and who she was going to dislike. So the likes of Luke and the likes of myself and Jupiter and Cam and Moon, many, many people, she had already decided she was going to dislike, okay? Because of her politics, as simple as that. But what we didn't know was the kind of troll that she is, okay? And she is the biggest sort of troll that claims victim if you try to troll her back, as we found out when Cam went to find her. I mean, I don't really blame Cam for that because the woman was threatening her children. Bleeding Heart was threatening Cam's children. So I didn't really blame Cam for doing that at all. But Bleeding Heart was nowhere to be seen. Now, so this woman is a troll. And she's a sort of troll, how can I put it to you? She can only stay loyal to people like herself. So that would be Esau and Brian Hurl. She can pretend to be loyal to people like Moon, people like Jupiter, and even people like not loyal, like amicable, that word, yeah, I can never say it. People like that, and myself and others, she can pretend, but it will never last, right? And I want you guys to try and take away from this what I've said, because then when you listen to these idiots again, you'll be able to see through their lies and how they twist the stories so that they come out as the ones that are being picked on. But Bleeding Heart can only be loyal to people who are as crazy and as fucking nuts as what she is. This is what you've got to remember. She could never hold a friendship or anything with somebody that's remotely sane, you see. Moon tried. You know, Moon did try. And You know, no, that didn't work out. Well, I knew it was never going to work out. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did. I knew it would never work out because Moon's not as insane as the troll called Bleeding Heart. So Bleeding Heart is just a troll. Anything she says, you must never take seriously. Yeah. Because she will hurt anyone's feelings. But the minute you go after her, I mean, she acts like, you know, someone's just dropped a nuclear bomb on top of her house, and that she's the innocent, and that she's not done nothing. Well, I suggest you do what I did, Bleeding Heart, and take a long look at yourself and what you've been doing and what you've been saying. And I think you're going to be quite surprised if you're honest with yourself. Well, I don't think people like Bleeding Heart are capable of being honest with themselves, to be honest. So am I going to put Bleeding Heart in room 101? Definitely she can go and join Afghan and stay in there. So that's A, B, C. We're on D, weren't we? We got Dave. Oh, Lady Divine. Now, I get very puzzled with Lady Divine, okay? Because 1 minute she's very pro-British, and the next minute, I don't know whether it's the real side that comes out. The anger and the hatred towards white people comes out. And that's when I think, well, hang on. What's this about? Because you claim to be happy living in this country. You don't have a problem with white people. But now I'm listening to this absolute rampant rage coming out of you about white people. And I'm not getting it. I expect in her ordinary life, she lives an ordinary everyday life, whatever. She shouts a lot. She seems to have a short fuse. Let me think. Would I put Lady Divine in room 101 with Bleeding Heart and Afghan? No, I wouldn't. And the reason I wouldn't is because I don't believe there's any true evil there. You know, there's no evil in Lady Divine. I think she just is a bit confused. Doesn't look at the full picture. Maybe, I don't know what life experiences she's had, but she's got this false view of white people, I think. And you know, you get to an age where your point of view will not be changed no matter what. So I kind of understand that. But she does have this false view of white people, to the point where her and Ninetha literally call over the black men who dared to talk to anybody that's white, to give them a good telling off. But would I put Lady Divine in room 101? No. That's my point of view. She wouldn't go into room 101. DD, I'm sure. I'm not even going to mention, well, I am going to mention the Darkness account. Now, this Darkness account, right? Oh, shut up. This Darkness account, long before anything in Discord, right? It was floating around, and I'd see it a few places, and it was called the Darkness, right? And the reason I noticed is because I thought, well, what a strange name to call yourself. So I can verify that there was definitely an account called the Darkness floating around before anything to do with Discord. Definitely 101%. And would I put that in room 101? Yes, because it's creepy and I don't know who it is. D. I'm trying to think who else. Anyway, I'll remember who else in a minute. So next I want to go to Khan. Khan, the Turkish Cypriot that is one day Turkish, the next day Cypriot. He could very well the day after that be Irish. The day after that he could be Portuguese. And he may even end up being a little Scandinavian. He seems to be what I would refer to as a mongrel. You know, because Heinz 59, sorry, mongrel dog, as we used to be called, right? Because he's a bit of everything, right? That's what you call these mongrel dogs, isn't it? Kind of thing. And that's what he is. And he's got the most, he is the biggest coward, but has the biggest mouth ever. He comes out with the most vile things. And his favorite saying is, "Shut up, you bitch." What else does he like to say? I think that people, I don't know, Luke, I'll use Luke as an example. I think that Luke should be barred from coming on this panel. Yeah, anyone he doesn't like, he wants barred from coming on the panel, right? Because they obviously upset him so much. His favorite subject is food. We all know that. But he's got this horrible, horrible way of just being a convincing liar about things. He will lie blatantly about history, about Islam. He will just lie consistently and persistently. And when you pull him up on it, his first go-to is to shout, "Fuck off. What would you know?" And if you're a man, you will be called, I don't know, like gay or something. And if you're a woman, well, you can guarantee you're going to be called a bitch, right? He's got no personality. No wonder he still lives at home with his mother. He's not a nice individual. I'm telling you, he's not. And I don't think he would be in real life. You can't hold the views he has and be okay in real life. I mean, the amount of times this man goes to a shop or goes to the garage and meets the most unusual people on the way. One of his stories was, I was going to the shop and I saw this homeless person. And I thought, I'll give you one of my donuts. Now, Khan, remember, is a nutritionist with a degree, right, from the Open University. And there he stood with his donut. And Khan is also a diabetic. Now, do I need to explain any more? Do I need to say to people, Khan is an idiot? Khan must never be took seriously. I don't think so. You guys must have worked it out for yourself. Anyone, right, like him, you can't take them seriously. When I talk to Khan, it's literally everything he says I take with a pinch of salt. I'd never believe a word he says. He changes like the wind. He's another one. He'll go on the majority side against the minority. Yeah, that's the way Khan works. Never goes on the minority side. He will go on the majority because he's a coward of a man. Just an absolute coward. And would I put Khan in room 101? Yeah, I would. In you go. In you go in room 101 with Bleeding Heart, Afghan, and Khan. I'd definitely put Khan in there. I'd shut the box lid and then never let him out. Who's the next one I want to go for? Oh, yeah. Mr. Newman on the block. Stephen the Piano, he calls himself. I like to call him Commie Steve. Right? This man is a communist, an outright, outrageous communist. You need to watch out for him and don't get tuck in. First of all, when he first arrived, he came on with this very passive, aggressive attitude, which I picked up on straight away because I'm clever. No, I'm joking, right? I just picked up on it straight away that he has this very passive, aggressive attitude whilst trying to get a point across that's pretty nasty. He'll use this passive, aggressive attitude to do it. Now, I picked up on that, well, I don't know, within minutes of him first arriving, okay? And gradually, as the time's gone on, I've noticed he's got this very communist point. He lives in a commune, first of all, right? Share and share alike. So, you know, in his world, you would end up owning nothing and nothing would ever be yours. You would all share everything. There would be no higher government, yeah, which is why he keeps harping on that if you don't agree with the government, you've got to do something about it. You know, you've got to do something about it, as you're going to hear right now, right? So I need to find it because, you know, it's not fair that you don't hear these people who I'm talking about, but I need to find it first because he does go on a bit. Oh, he's not there. Where is he? Hang on. But, you know, don't be tucked in by this Steve. No. Steve is not your friend. Let me just share the screen.
About the impact of immigration on the existing population for reasons which they could not comprehend. The indigenous population found,
you know, this can't be tolerated.
This is a madness.
Yeah, we also live in a fast-moving society at the present time as well. The news about Tommy coming back isn't good.
We need to get to that next. Yeah, we're definitely going to get to that next, Steve.
Yeah.
You've put up a thing on this.
A week is a long time in far-right politics.
Come on.
Hang on.
No,
Wait.
Irish passport thing. I was going to deal with that because that's what Bex was come up here last
I
night.
didn't hear
We never got to, obviously.
So he claims that, you know, the news that Tommy's coming back isn't good. Right, ain't heard that. I don't know. Anyway. But you see, he gets involved. He doesn't care about the far right. He's a communist, right? Steve the fucking communist. So he'd get involved in these conversations just to turn it into the only way to deal with anything is for a revolution, comrades. Comrade Steve. That's what we should call him from now on. Comrade Steve the commie. That's what he is. And I mean, every word he says now, I just think communist, communist, communist. You know, Comrade Steve the commie. Let's hear a bit more of him.
Vampire was here and it became excessive, compulsive behavior for Islam yet again. Whenever he hits the panel, it is. So rather than just argue with him, you just let him do what he does. Let him show you what I've been saying. Yeah, let him show you. We did.
I come to that conclusion again.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing, Lady?
I said, thank you for giving me another W. Why so? Like, thank you.
Can I just say one thing, though?
Appreciate it.
You see, Wiseau, yeah, one thing I do like about Wiseau is if you talk to him about anything other than Islam, he is a critical thinker. So I want to give him that much respect. But you are right in the sense, I said it to Steve yesterday, he don't like religion.
Yeah, yeah. You were right, brother.
Well, of course Steve doesn't like religion. He's a fucking communist. You look at China, they're not allowed to have religion in China. There is no religion in China. Okay? He's a communist. Christ's sake.
Obviously, I never knew him though.
Yeah.
Oh, this is normal behavior for him, standard. But yeah, let's finish up this video here because they're saying now that the MPs, rather than condemning these views and putting and calling it for what it is, what they're doing is trying to justify it. But they're angry, they're disenfranchised, they're only acting like us because of their disenfranchisement. That's what they're doing. But with anybody else, they do not afford that. If it was a bunch of black boys that were doing the exact same thing running through they would not afford that. They would say they were gangs, they were also black supremacists.
Oh, Lady Divine, I do think that 3 weeks before, people who were not white were doing exactly that and got away with it. So what are you talking about? But anyway, I don't want to be diverted. My target is Steve.
That were they're black radicals and all. We wouldn't be afforded them same kind of gateways of, oh, they're disenfranchised, oh, they're at the bottom of society, oh, they've the way that the system is set them up to fail. We won't get none of that. No.
They'll be saying, we don't need blacks like that, send them back.
Yeah, get them out our country. They hate the country from the inside out.
Well, while this is here, right, I'm going to address this, right? Because the riots, as bad as they were, had nothing to do with black people. Why are they injecting themselves into this? I don't get it. And I haven't got it since the day those three little girls were murdered, actually. I haven't understood it, and I never will. Why it's now turned into this race thing when really it started with the murder of 3 little girls. But what they like to say, I've noticed, is they like to say, oh, but it happened before that. It all started before that. Well, for me, this thing, the 3 little girls, the riots, it's all, well, what's the words now? It's all one compact thing that happened. Okay, and no one's going to tell me any different. So why they're trying to bring in their race theories about this is beyond me, because it wasn't about race. It just wasn't. Yous made it about race. No one else. You did. You made it about race with the help of the government. No one else, as far as I'm concerned. As for those thugs that were wandering the streets and attacking the police, well, I think they've been seen to. Apart from that, what are you saying now? That white people are not allowed to even lawfully protest? Is that what's being said now? White people shut up, sit down and don't complain? Do we all have to be like the royal family? Never explain, don't complain? Because that is the thing that you don't want happening. Never complain and don't explain pushes people underground. But I can't believe that they're literally sitting having an argument about something that has nothing to do with what happened on that Monday and then what happened after that. So it's just like the riots, really. Because a lot of people sort of used what happened on the Monday as an excuse to go and commit crime. And a lot of people were caught up in the moment, and a lot of people were truly angry. There's no getting away from that. I'm not going to say they weren't, because they weren't. And why they're blaming Nigel Farage, that's another thing I don't get. Don't understand why they're blaming Nigel Farage. He hasn't said anything. He hadn't said a thing apart from ask who it was that committed the murders of those 3 little girls. That's all he's ever asked.
In the call, they don't want to assimilate. They don't want to be British.
It's funny because
Get rotten to the core.
I was watching.
Their black faces. Get them
I was watching the Channel 4 documentary last night about the riots in Southall in the 1970s, and exactly the same thing was being said then. Exactly the same thing, words for words, right? So nothing's changed since 1978.
Oh, I think that you have. You're a liar because I've seen that documentary, and I'll tell you what. I had to turn it off because it's so lefty. It was unbelievable. But I've seen that documentary, and I think a lot has changed, considering there was riots in Southall. Yeah, you don't get many riots in Southall now, do you? Yeah. What are you talking about, Commie Steve? What is it you? Well, I know what you want. You want a revolution, and this is your way of doing it with your passive-aggressive attitude. Dangerous people. You need to watch out for what he says. And when he thinks that you've caught him, right, he'll try and compliment you in a backhanded way. That's when you've got to dash that compliment away and think, no, I'm not going to agree with you, because what this man wants is a revolution, right? He wants to tear everything down and build it all back up again his way. Red Commie Steve.
Which is a shame. It's a crying shame that we never learned from that lesson. Is my mic working all right?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. No, nothing's changed in
Oh,
that
wait,
time.
you're telling me nothing's changed in like almost 50 years, in 45 years, nothing ain't changed.
Yeah. I mean, people obviously aren't as overt as they were in them days, right? But some of the things that have been said lately, though, it's becoming overt again. It's becoming like in them times when people felt bold enough to start shouting that shit in the street. That shit should never be on the street. That shit is bad for the street. Excuse my French.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think a lot has changed, Steve, and I would disagree. I would say a lot has changed, but what's happened is those so-called quote-unquote non-existent EDL, non-existent this, that, and the other, they were just pushed.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say.
This is why I can't do lives, let me just go on mute. We have to respect their culture and their
showed what they really stand for.
I was 17. He was considered a minor, therefore
showed what they really stand for.
I was 17. He was considered a minor, therefore they can't release information. And Nigel knows.
And that's not the bit.
Be themselves, right? And so when I went back to the UK, kind of like so desperate that they don't see any other way.
Come on, here it is. Yeah. How is me walking around wearing that and a couple chopsticks in my head? Me not respecting the what is it? Respecting what they said?
Yeah. Respecting the nation they live in.
No. I couldn't think of.
Well, how about when people go over to other countries like the Middle East, we have to respect their culture and their religion by literally putting something over our heads, don't we? But these people don't assimilate into our society. I'm not going to say community. I hate that word, community. In fact, society. They're always othering themselves. And they dress so they do not look like our society. It's a deliberate act. And why these people can't see it is beyond me. I don't get it.
Right, what it was called, Mama? Here we come, OG.
Still not the
There were some beautiful dogs that come on the train.
To conform to. And why would they want us to conform to British culture? It's a racist ass culture. Who would want to willingly conform to that?
So this is
seriously
EIE. Everything.
I mean, can you hear me?
It's meant to be.
Yeah. I mean, but who the hell would want to conform to red coat British culture? The British don't change. It's the same thing as Americans. If you build a house on sand, anything can break it down. What the British and the Americans did, they know they have this racist ass culture. Rather than scrap it and start anew with something that everybody can have a foot or a say in, they want to build on top of this racism and expect those the people they exploit to join.
There is no one stopping anyone from being part of society as a whole. If you decide to lock yourself into a cubby hole and be part of just a tiny little community, that's your fault. No one is saying that you have to do that. You choose to do it. People choose to do that. And this idiot here, I don't know who he is, everything over everything, or he's something like that, he's called. And he's the biggest racist I've ever heard.
I mean, with them, who the fuck they think they are?
Problem, because they don't want to get to the core. You cannot
right. And rather than they conform, rather than they change,
asking for unity when the people that never got their justice have still at the bottom,
right.
Still ain't received even an
it's the height of insult. It's the height.
What justice is it you're looking for? You've been able to come to this country to live, right? You've been able to get all of everything this country can offer. You get it, right? Yeah, there was racism early on, but I do think that racism is practically gone now. Not many racists about this IEIE or whatever he's called. Everything over everything or something silly like that. He's the biggest racist I've ever heard. But would I put Stephen the commie into box 101? He's damn right I would. Along with EIE. Absolute racist pig.
That's hubris.
Any form of correction. It's a joke.
And these fucking people think that it's we must conform. It's them must change their fucking ways. People don't hate the British. People hate the fact the British are rabid, racists who refuse to change. That's what people hate.
Why should we change? Hang on. What, you come here to live in our land. Why do we have to change? No. It doesn't work like that. Right. And unfortunately, it'll never work like that. And apparently this guy does not even live in this country, but lives in another country where apparently he's a British subject. And he's got all this hatred within him. It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
WikiLeaks, definitely. When we get through this video and that, I'll definitely do that. Just remind me, yeah? And
you can tell the British people who see the problem and say, hey, we gotta fix this. They're in the middle.
That prolific for the last couple of years, right? But people still can remember. Yeah, and I'm going to be defending my. Ask yourself, why did my mum and dad have a British passport?
Context that what he said.
Sis, do you catch the form of reasoning where Roger used, where you see the Western media use, where you see NATO, United States, and all of them doing, while they're preaching, oh, we care about the Palestinians, we want this to stop, we want. Don't you see them loading up Israel with bombs?
Mm-hmm.
Eh? So them are sit on one side and I say, okay, we need this peace, we go support Palestinians freedom, sis, and then they turn around and get 2,000 bombs
in the United Kingdom.
So you're with them. So you're basically saying you're with Many Trains school of thoughts then.
So exactly. So for example, some of my cultural values coincide with the British values, and some of them don't. So when somebody comes into your house, you offer them a cup of tea. It's a British value as well as a
So when
cultural
these
value.
white people run around and say conform to British culture, which one do you think they're talking? Buddha?
Well, that's something. Listen,
You know, I don't know what world these people live in. I truly don't, right? Maybe it's because I don't live in the inner city. I don't know. But if you've got a friend who happens to be a different color and they come round for a cup of tea, you don't fucking stand. You just ask if they want a cup of tea or coffee. I don't get these people. Why they're talking about culture when your next door neighbour's a friend and they come in, they happen to be a different color or different culture or whatever. You don't go into a conversation about that. You probably go into a conversation about whatever has happened that day in your own life. I don't understand these people.
that's something you need to ask them.
I'm asking you. You defending them?
No. How am I defending them?
I hear you defend them every day, Buddha. Don't play games.
What have I said?
With all due respect, Buddha, I hear you defend them every day.
Give me an example.
No, I'm asking you. No, I'm not going to go there. I'm asking you.
Oh, you're not going to go there, but you're going to make these outlandish.
Right here, right
you're
now.
going to make these outlandish claims
British
that I
values
defend.
would.
Sorry,
all right,
excuse me. I'm not going to let that go. I'm not going to let that go.
British value would you see as
you know what?
conform
I let Divine go get away with it last time. I'm not going to let you get away with it, right? So you're saying I defend those people that are rioting on the street.
Yes.
Can you give me an example, please? Go ahead.
Because I know the game you play, I would have to have Lady.
I've never heard anyone defend those people that were rioting on the streets, to be honest. No one. No. Rioting is nothing that anyone should support. That includes the 2020 rioting of BML. Is it BML? Black Lives Matter, BLM. Yeah. And the 2011 riots, which caused absolute havoc, chaos, and were terrible. And it was all over the shooting of a thug, a drug dealer who was carrying a gun. Let's remember that, right? So why these want to act all virtuous is fucking beyond me, because I think they forget the riots that were caused in 2020 and the riots that were caused in 2011 over something to do with their culture, not ours.
Fine, pull it up and word for word, hold you to it, because I know the game you play. If I deviate by 1 inch, you will take advantage of it. So I'd rather not.
Well, obviously, because you're making an outlandish claim.
No, I'm not making it up. I know what I heard you say.
Go ahead and give me an example then.
No, I want to hear it word for word. Lady D, do you have the time to pull up some of Buddha's past comments?
No, please.
In that culture.
Can I get Britishness, please? What is British culture? Because remember, the whole argument is British culture has been changed. It's dying out. Can I get some British culture?
Yeah, our culture is understanding, tolerance, inclusiveness, diversity, try and help people, try and make others understand other people's ways of life. We go around the world and we literally try to help other countries. You know, everyone thinks the British Army, Air Force and Navy do nothing but go around and try and call war, fight wars. Literally, they go to places like Haiti and help out whenever there's some sort of big storm or tornado. Wherever there's an earthquake, you can guarantee the British Navy will be deployed to go there and help, right, to find people who survived, to help these people who survived. Many, many things are done by our armed forces around the world to help others. And that's because we come from a stabilized country. We are not a third world country. We have things and rights that we stick to, and we have morals that we stick to. And it's those morals and that tolerance and that diversity and that understanding that makes us go as a nation when we send our armed forces to help in times of troubles in different countries.
Not African, not Asian, not Chinese, British I'm asking for.
Okay, so not
I won't pledge to any country because of my values. That's my
Your
answer.
personal values, right?
Yeah.
I respect that. You see, there's
But,
a difference, and I'm noticing a difference with how the native British think. In difference with
You know, I'm starting to get a bit offended now by these words, indigenous and native. You can fuck off, right? There is no indigenous and there's no native. There's just British or English or Welsh or Scottish or Irish. There is no indigenous. Those words piss me off, right? And I'm not going to use them. From now on, I'm just going to say British, English, Scottish, Welsh. I'm not going to go, oh, the Welsh, you know, the indigenous people. No, fuck off. I'm not going to say it anymore. If you don't want to be inclusive of our society, well, you live in a street that will become a ghetto, and that's how you live your life and be happy. No one cares.
The immigrant motherfuckers who are trying to prove themselves worthy of being British. I noticed the difference. The British people are under no illusions. They know what they did. Good people do bad shit. But they know what they did.
You notice the energy yes for the white man though. Yeah, big up EIE, go true.
The energy, the white man came up and spoke more sense than you dumb fuck. You think the cracker would not get the work if he was saying some bullshit?
See, he feels quite free to be able to sit on this panel and refer to a white man as a cracker. You know, a Jacob's Cream cracker. It just makes me fucking laugh. You know, the way they're so racist and their lack of understanding of us, of the English people, of the British people. Their lack of understanding is remarkable. You think by now they would understand. Well, I do think they understand, but I think they're forever the victim. They played the victim for so long now, they don't know how not to be a victim. It's as simple as that. They're just victims, perpetual victims, day in, day out, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the only people who don't see themselves as victims are the ones who do well for themselves, the ones that go to work every day, right? And don't get involved in this stupidity of politics where the white man is the bad man all the time. It's pathetic, it's childish, it's stupid, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work anymore because, unfortunately, as time marches on, we're becoming more insular. And that's because you don't need to engage with people the way you used to because of, you know, the different technologies that are about. So we are becoming more insular. And, you know, we've got the ABCD brigade. And things like Islam will not override that. No. If they try to do anything to that, right, the ABCD brigade, right, they lose without a doubt. And that's why I support the ABCDE brigade, because I know when they come up against that, Islam may as well get on the boat and move away because it's just not going to be able to deal with it.
Think I'm scared? Tell him.
Slave
the man said
mentality.
something that
Slave
I can
mentality.
agree with.
Yes,
Period.
master. Yes, master.
A British subject. Yeah, he's a
Well,
British
Wish to interject, Buddha. I've got no problem, mate.
bloody hell. I was in the back for town.
I don't even want to like catch argument with this guy. I just like don't have the energy.
Yeah, well, obviously you've had arguments, so it's difficult to talk when you're arguing. But your point is as valid as anybody else's.
Yeah, he's a proper heathen, isn't he? He's a bit of a
man.
barbarian.
Proper heathen.
Hold on a minute.
People initially.
He's a barbarian. What is he doing?
No, barbarian. No. Barbarians are white, Northern Europeans. No, don't call me that.
You're a barbarian. What are you playing at?
Ask the Romans. The Romans will tell you who the
Come on, what are
barbarians
you
are.
playing
Right?
at?
Not the
What's all
Europeans.
the anger about? Why so much anger, EIE? No, why so much anger?
Hello, one moment. And again, I'll show you the same energy he's putting out towards a white racist woman, laughing and joking, yeah? And he wants to.
Now you see, Buddha, because of that comment, Buddha, you know, I didn't have a problem with you. All the arguments we've had, I haven't really took them personal. None of it, right? But when you just said that, you're going into room 101. You are another one with your passive aggressive attitude. Okay, you say one thing, you mean another. Like you came onto Jupiter's and you were trying to tell Jupiter, you need to tell people to calm down and ask for peace. What, does Jupiter get to talk to like 5 million people or something? You know, you I don't know what you are, but you think you're, I don't know what you are. You claim to be a Buddhist. I don't see anything remotely Buddhist about you. And what you just said there, no, I'm sorry. Straight into room 101 for you, dear Buddha, as Stephen and EIE, straight into 101 for them. So it's getting pretty full in 101 at the moment. Yes.
Tell me about why I'm going over and speaking certain places. Yeah, you hypocrite.
You and your fucking narratives. You
What are you
dumbass,
calling a
ambiguous-
white
You
racist woman,
ambiguous
Buddha?
motherfucker.
Yeah,
Take your
that's a
ass
bit
off the
harsh,
panel.
Buddha.
So you're not
No,
making
I
no
mean,
sense.
I'm not racist, Buddha. I just tell the truth,
Are you
Buddha.
calling back a white and racist, Buddha? Is that what you're doing?
Is that what you call me a white racist
say
woman,
again?
Buddha?
Don't be talking to Bex like that. She ain't white and racist. Why?
I'm not racist. I'm a good Christian.
Told you yesterday, Lady D, I'm a race traitor. Told you, man.
But I
A
want to
good
know where
Christian.
EIE's anger comes
good
from. Because
Christian.
wow, that's some kind of anger.
If there was ever an oxymoronic statement, a good Christian would take the cake.
But EIE, where does that anger come from? Because it's pretty deep, isn't it?
Where does your hatred come from of Islam?
I know I don't have anger like that. I don't have anger like that. Can he not answer for himself?
Cracker.
I mean, his anger is pretty deep.
Calling me
Yeah?
angry? Cracker, are you calling me angry? You wake up the definition of angry.
What did you just call me?
Wake up
What
the
did you just
definition
call
of
me?
thievery. You wake
Did you
up the
just
definition
call
of
me a
war,
cracker?
terror, and pillage. You are the definition, bitch. So who the fuck
You
you
need
calling
to
angry?
get
You're
over
a Jacob's
Read your
cracker,
Bible.
Wendy.
What does the Bible say
That's
about
right, Cracker.
bitch? White bitch. What does the Bible say about anger?
Jacob Cream Cracker.
What
I'm
does
sick
your
of being
fucking
called
Bible
it.
say about anger, white Christian? Anger in the Bible is
This is
stated
not
as a
even
conscious man
about
is
you.
always
I don't know
angry.
why you're getting so angry.
A conscious
It's not
man
even
is
about
always angry,
you.
bitch. So saith
It's
your
not
Lord.
about you.
Why are you not angry, bitch? Why are you
Why
not
do I
angry?
be? Well, I could never be
Do you
angry
see
like
the
you are.
injustices
Wow.
in the world? Do you, bitch?
Can we get God of Jacob blocked in the chat?
White bitch, do you see the injustices in the world?
I don't
In
know,
Wendy's
black
defense, in
bastard. I
Wendy,
don't
you will
know.
agree. I don't
Well,
agree with you.
I tell you, white
But you
bitch.
don't get angry like that. I've
Injustice
never heard
make a
the
conscious man angry. Anger
But
is
why
righteous.
are you angry? Why?
Because I'm righteous, bitch.
But how? Why? I've never heard such anger.
No, anger is very, very justified, bitch.
For who?
Because there are
Why?
people like you on the
Where
planet.
do you? Hang on. Wait.
There's
So
people
where do
like
you
you
live?
on the
Where do you
planet.
live? Do you live in Great Britain?
And that's
you?
the problem. You know what I saw today?
Should we get a GoFundMe so you can go back to whichever shithole you came from?
You know what you export over there in Britain?
Should we get a
You know why
GoFundMe?
you're having so much,
GoFundMe so you can
know
go
why you
back
have
to
so much
whatever
goddamn
shithole you
refugees?
came from.
You know why you have so much refugees? You export too much bombs. You export bombs and you get refugees, bitch.
Hold on, bruh. Hold on. Wendy, he doesn't live in Great Britain, but guess what? He is, Wendy, a British subject. Yeah, he's a British subject.
Unwillingly. A British subject.
So you don't have a clue about British culture then?
Oh hell, we do, bitch. We do, bitch.
Well, obviously you don't, because because people in Britain don't run around calling everyone a white bitch. Yeah.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
They
No.
do. They do. Like
Yeah, you
I
got
said,
they
you
don't.
take your
That's
mercenaries from the right wing in America, and all of a sudden you fucking British are white. You play the white game to the T. You have all these ethnicities
you know
in
what,
Britain.
EIE, you
got
know
the
what? I
Irish,
think
you
you're
got the
more
West,
angry.
You got all these different types
I
of white
think
people.
that
But
you
all
are
of a
more
sudden you're white.
angry
All
with
of a
the
sudden, all of you are
Americans.
white.
Yeah, I think you're more angry with the Americans than you are with the British. Yes.
Bitch, you stupid. You riding the waves of goddamn
Yeah, I think
colonialism.
that's where your
what you're
anger
doing.
needs to be
You
aimed.
white
It needs
bitch,
to
you
go
tasted
there to
mayonnaise, stale
America.
mayonnaise, bitch. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
doing it. You racist fuck, and when people call you out, you act like, oh, what did I do that? Did I do
Well, I'm
that?
not racist,
Bitch,
though.
you are the
I
problem.
could never be as
There's
racist
anger
as
in
you.
this world because
I could
there's
never
white
be as
bitches
racist
like
as you.
who perpetrating the same shit over and over. And it's bitches like you who give birth to these little white bastards that grow up and perpetrate white supremacy continuously. Bitch.
Oh, you see,
drop
I
off a
could
bridge.
never. You
Drop
have
off
just
a bridge,
you
bitch.
just.
Do
You're
the world
evil.
a favor.
You are a
Find
barbarian, and you
drop off a
don't
bit.
belong in this country, which is probably why you don't live in this country, because we
Wow.
wouldn't let you in.
Bitch,
Wow.
what do you know? I probably travel to more places than you, bitch. You don't know shit about me.
Allow me to make a conversation out of this, yeah? Because we did hear a lot of talk even with the Raj's interview, and he was talking about people that have a disdain for the UK or disdain for this country, whatever it may be that he classed it as. I can't remember.
A rightful disdain.
Hold on, EIE. And that brings it, and this kind of brings what's going on right here, Wendy, kind of brings it home. Because although he doesn't live in the United Kingdom, although he doesn't have no ties to the Great Britain right here, right now, he has a tie because he's a subject of the Britain.
Lady D, I read an article where the British military,
so I'm a bit fucking baffled. I'm a bit fucking baffled.
Wendy, let me finish. Let me let the point and I'll allow you to answer. So because of the fact that what the British have previously done in history years ago, it has had a direct impact on him and his nation of people. This is where you guess the mantra of the disdain for Great Britain, the empire and all of that. This is where a lot of it forms from. So when I was saying earlier, when Raj was saying, although this has happened and this has happened and it was so long ago that he still like that.
It's not long ago, sis.
Other people cannot apply the same because other people has not got the repair yet, Wendy, in order to...
Well, if he's not going to say where he lives,
the British are recruiting
how can he
soldiers
be a
in the
British
Commonwealth.
subject?
The
Was he
British
live in the
are
Falkland
recruiting.
Islands or something?
While British soldiers are raping women in
You
Kenya,
live in
they're
the
recruiting
Falkland
soldiers
Islands.
to go fight
You live
Ukraine
in
from the
Gibraltar or
Commonwealth.
something. Where do you live?
The British are recruiting people from the Commonwealth to go fight their fucking war in Ukraine while they're raping women in Kenya.
You offer.
That's what your fucking
choose,
British are doing right now.
You choose to become part of the army. Stop fucking lying.
You fucking piece of shit white bitch.
Yeah, all right, black bastard.
Now you the problem. You are the problem of the world. You keep pissing out these racists.
EIE, I have never heard such anger,
raping Kenyan
such
women,
hatred,
having sex with these
such
women,
anger and
leaving
such
the kids
hatred.
unfucking cared
You are
for,
obviously, and
fucking
people
goddamn
like you
recruiting
are
from
the
the Commonwealth.
problem.
They're trying to
You're
get
the
another
problem.
Commonwealth army. They're little
You're the
70,000.
problem. Listen to you.
You got 70,000 people in your military, and you little gay white British men not gonna go fight wars no more. So guess where you going to recruit? From the fucking Commonwealth. You don't want to have shit to do with.
We don't care. Nobody recruits from the Commonwealth. You lot offer.
Oh,
you
really?
want to have a career
Oh,
and
really?
you offer.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Your British government is secretly recruiting from the Commonwealth, bitch. They're doing it.
So what
right
does the
now.
word, hang on, EIE, what does the word recruit mean?
Are you looking for definitions now, bitch?
What does the
Is that
word
what you're
recruit
doing?
mean?
Is that what you're doing?
What does it mean? What does the word recruit mean?
I'm not gonna play this game with you.
Well, you were the one that said it.
Yeah, I said it, and it's true.
Well, if they recruit, they're not doing anything wrong, because that means people have to come to them and ask, so what is it like to be in the British Army? They get told and they choose to
Are
join.
they British citizens? Bitch, are they British citizens?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what country we're talking about.
It seems
to be top secret.
What they're trying to do is create a fucking goddamn British Foreign Legion. That's what they're doing.
Oh, well, if they do, I'll be very proud of the British Foreign Legion.
Citizens to be recruited, but because that's what you were going to play on me. Because
we've
they're
now
not
got a British Foreign Legion. Wow.
Recruited. But that's what the article said, bitch. The article said the British are recruited in the Commonwealth. But you and I know the British can't recruit non-citizens. So guess what they're doing? Guess what they're doing?
Wait a minute. There are plenty,
they're using money.
of
They're
people
going in
from
poor
the Commonwealth
countries,
in the British Army.
Enticing these people with money.
There are plenty of people from the Commonwealth in the British Army.
Poor people with money.
Yeah.
To go die for Britain.
Yeah.
Fuck you, bitch.
And they have good careers. They have good careers. And when they come out, they live good, decent lives. And they're not like you.
Foreign Legion.
None of that anger. They've got none of that anger and disrespect.
Turn our little boys and little girls into terrorists to fight for Britain. Because your men are dumping in men's body hole and not strong enough to fight their own wars.
Oh my God.
Shut your
Have
fucking
you not
ass
been
up.
out today with
Stop
your
giving
fucking
birth to
spear
homosexuals.
to get a fish
Stop
out the sea
giving
or
birth
something?
to homosexuals, Wendy.
It's time for you
Let
to
your
go
little
running
seed
and
go
catch
fight
your
your own
dinner.
wars.
Go and catch your dinner.
Let your seed go fight your own wars, bitch. Don't come recruiting in the Commonwealth. Don't come enticing poor people who got nothing.
It must hang on. The
to lose
people
to
in
go
the
fight for Britain
Commonwealth,
for
the
$500.
people in the
die for
Commonwealth,
£500.
unfortunately, they
Imagine.
want to be part of the
Some little poor
Commonwealth.
sucker in Kenya, some poor sucker in Ghana, in the Caribbean, should go die for Britain. When every time they come on a plane to fucking Heathrow, they get turned back.
Right, so the government of the Commonwealth, the governments of different countries in the Commonwealth choose to be in the Commonwealth, you idiot.
Hello, are they conscripted or are they recruited? Which one is it?
They're recruited. There's a big difference. There's no conscription.
I rather use the word enticed. They were enticed with money to go die for Britain.
Now.
They were enticed. They were groomed. They were groomed to go fight for Britain and die for Britain. With £500. That's the desperation they're dealing with.
I've met a lot of them, and they're good people. They live good lives,
good
and they're
people.
not as angry
I
as
met a
you.
lot
They're
of them. I
nowhere
saw a lot of
near.
them in
They're nothing like
Afghanistan.
you.
I saw
Why
a lot
is
of them in
that?
Afghanistan hanging on to the fucking wheel of
Why is that? Why are people who make something of
and you know what you
themselves
do when you
not
know what you do
angry
when
like
you bail
you?
out on the country? You leave them behind.
Why
I
is it
saw what
that
happened in
people
Afghanistan,
like
bitch.
you who make
Those
something
fuckers
of
thought that
themselves
you
are
were
not
gonna
angry
help
like
them.
you? I don't
You left a
understand.
bunch of fucking Afghanis over there thinking Britain's
Oh, then
gonna
have you
save
gone to
them.
Afghan? Oh God, where are you going to go next? Where are you going to go
You
next?
got Afghanis holding on to the wheel
Where are
of
you
a
going to go
C-130
next?
thinking
Where are
Britain's
you going
gonna
to go
save
next?
them. You fucking bitch.
You
need to go
fucking
fight
bitch.
your
Is
own
that
war,
all you
bitch.
can say? You're such a gentleman, aren't you? It's a good job you don't live in this country. You wouldn't fit in.
Oh boy. Yeah, you play a little bullshit ass game with somebody else, Wendy. I know your game. You have been profiled and been pennied and been scoped out by me. You are no fucking goddamn a weak person. I know what you up to. I know what you up to, Miss MI5. Fuck you.
Look, you're very angry, and I don't know why.
Yeah, angry because I'm conscious and I'm disgusted by people like you, and I'm righteous for it.
You're not
you, white
righteous.
bitch.
You know, have they let you out for the day? Are you on leave for the day? What time have you got to be back to the local
boot up and
fucking nut
suit up,
now?
Wendy. Go to Ukraine, bitch. Go to Ukraine.
What do I want to go to the Ukraine for?
Oh, what? I'm gonna let Zelensky know There's a British you don't support. You mean to tell me Ukrainians are dying for you, and you don't want to go over there and support them?
Wait. How are Ukrainians dying for us? What the hell are you talking
So
about?
you're late to the party. Oh, you didn't know that Ukraine was some little endeavor, your little bullshit ass Boris Johnson dialed up? Huh? You didn't
Hang
know?
on. As far as I know,
You didn't know that your goddamn
the
freedom is right
Ukrainians.
now
Wait
being
a minute,
defended by
EIE, stop
Ukrainians.
shouting.
You didn't know. You didn't
The
know that your
Ukrainian
country right now
army.
is nervous.
Yes,
that when Russia is done
listen.
with Ukraine,
Yes,
didn't you know?
listen.
Didn't you know that your country right now is making plans for when Russia is done with Ukraine?
Yeah. The
Because they say
Ukrainian
that Russia is coming
army
from Britain next.
comes over to this
That's what
country
your leaders
and they
say.
get trained.
Your
Then they
leaders,
go back to
your
the
military
Ukraine
leaders
and
say
fight
after
their
Russia
own
is done
war.
with Ukraine,
Yeah.
they're coming for you. They're coming for you.
They're not
Russia is
coming for me.
you
They'll
after
come
they're
for
done with
anyone.
Ukraine.
It's you.
That's
You're
what
inciting
your leaders
hatred.
say.
You are inciting hatred right now.
Bitch. That's why you want people to go fight for you. You want
so the
Ukrainians to die to
Ukrainian
the last
army,
Ukrainian defending
the Ukrainians come over here, they get trained, they go back to the Ukraine and they fight their war. So what?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Right. You motherfuckers think you slick. You groomed the whole nation to die for you.
We are
Wow.
slick. We took over
You
most
groomed
of the
the
world.
whole nation to die
We
for
are
you.
slick.
You
We took
British
over
are
most
something
of the
else.
world. And
you British are something else, boy. You groomed the whole nation to die for you.
we groomed the whole world.
You
Yeah?
better
You
pray
all talk our
Ukrainians don't
language
wake up.
for a start.
Because when they wake up and catch wind to what you British caused their country, you're gonna wish Al Qaeda was fucking. Al Qaeda gonna be the least of your problems.
Technically, the British Empire still exists through the financial system. But the thing is, the people of Britain don't benefit from that financial system. They stuff them over the same as everyone else. And the reason for that is those overseas territories that control the financial system within the Western Hemisphere, right? Instead of trading goods between those countries, they dump that in favour of trading currency. And they still control the world through that currency. And they still do.
Hang on, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Steve. You and your commie ideas. The empire does not exist. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
You seriously? Are you seriously going to say that?
I'm
Why don't
seriously saying it. We've got the
don't they
Commonwealth. The Commonwealth.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Commonwealth. I'm talking about
But
the
the
financial
empire
system.
is in your imagination, in your commie
No, I'm
mind.
just saying they changed back. Instead of having those countries as sole territories, they've let them have independence and moved on with
Go
the
to the
financial
Cayman Islands, see what they did to the Cayman
They still
Islands.
control
I
those
was just
countries
in the
with the
Cayman
financial
Islands.
system.
That damn they're using the
Cayman
Cayman
Islands,
Islands as a
exactly.
big old fucking
Yeah.
racket. That's what they're
You know
using
it.
this whole country as. A racket for British
So,
dirty
then,
money. And
why-
they have
why-
many
why
little
do you say
islands
it's
all
not
over
true,
the world
Wendy?
like that. Trust me, she liar. She's a liar.
Do you still boil people in pots and eat them? I don't know.
Okay. All right, woman.
No, well, at least you know where we're
See,
thinking.
I can be
She's
as low as
accusing me of
you.
being a
I can
cannibal.
be as low as you. You're a
She's
nasty,
accusing me of being a
evil
cannibal.
individual.
I can go ahead and pull up all the times when British people ate each other to survive in the New World. From America to the Caribbean.
There you
Cannibalism
go,
is as
America. I
British
think your
as
anger
goddamn
needs to be
drug here.
directed at America.
Cannibalism is as British as drug here, bitch. So you
I
can
do
again
think that
somebody
your
else.
anger needs to be directed at America. There's no doubt. Yeah.
So you calling me one of them native cannibals? You see, you don't even know your little racist bullshit is played out.
Why is that racist after what you've been saying for the last half hour? Why is that racist after what you've been saying for the last half hour?
What I've been saying is just.
So
Just.
you're just and right.
Yes.
And I'm
righteous.
right and wrong.
I'm filled with righteous indignation and I'm slapping the shit out of this
I
white
wonder
bitch.
how a court of
With
law would look
nothing
at
but
it.
truth.
Yeah, I wonder how a court
Nothing
of law
but
would look
truth.
at it.
Nothing but the truth. And
I'd
all
have
you
my
got is
white
rhetoric
judge.
and a
I'd
big
have
ass
my
Buddha on
white
your left side.
judge sat
That's all
there
you got.
with all
Rhetoric,
these, with all the white
supremacist rhetoric,
jurors.
and a bitch named
I'd have
Buddha
my
on your
white
side. That's all you
privilege.
got.
the
fucking
maddest thing is,
idiot.
I haven't spoken it. You still got my name in your mouth. Like, what's wrong with you?
I ain't talking about you, brother.
No, I'm talking about this dunce, this fucking
Oh,
EIE fucking
yeah.
degenerate. I'm sure you've got mental health issues, you know.
Oh,
Like
do I?
there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Can you not see what you just said to what you've just said to Wendy and what Wendy's come out has insulted so many people on this panel? Do you give a fuck? No.
Well, why don't you?
You don't care because you're just.
Re-enlighten me what
Allegedly,
Wendy
you're
said,
just.
Buddha.
Allegedly,
Re-enlighten
you're
me
just.
what Wendy said that was so enlightening to you. Run it by me again. What did this white bitch say that was so enlightening to you that got your half black dick up?
Well, no
What?
doubt it was the cannibal bit. Yeah.
Oh, so you calling me a cannibal was enlightening?
Who said it
I
like
don't know.
that? It's offensive. Do you know the word? Do you?
Oh, Buddha's all offended because I said to use to still put people in pots and boil them. Now, Buddha, you can get offended. I don't care. Because whilst he was saying that us white bastards, his words, have children and carry on, have bastard children, you must get it right, and carry on with our white supremacy because of our white bastard children, of course he was going to be heading for a remark like that. But I don't think, in fact, I'm sure I did not mention you or anyone else that's on that panel. And if you choose to take offense over the truth, which, I mean, we do know in different parts of the world, I don't know which part, they used to put people in pots and fucking boil them. Now, if you don't like that, it's not my fault. But after I was, assaulted verbally by so much racism, of course I'm going to come out with that. And while I'm at it, I'm going to talk about Triller. Now, Triller is the biggest racist on here. He's one of the biggest racists you could ever come across. He comes out with absolute filth. He pretends to be a millionaire when he's not a millionaire. We all know he's not a millionaire, right? He never makes sense on any points that he says, never. And he's always crying and racist. That's a racist comment. Stop being racist. Will you stop it? He's always drunk. How he became a millionaire when he's always drunk is beyond me. That's because he's not a millionaire. He lives in a council house, in a council house estate, because he slipped up and showed us all when he wanted to show us how his neighbour apparently had St. George's flags in their garden, and he didn't understand why, because apparently his neighbour, right, is of Nigerian heritage. Well, he wouldn't be able to get that because the Nigerian is probably proud to live in this country and happy to live in this country, unlike him, who's got a problem with this country. So people, you must not listen to Triller. You must not take in what Triller says. If you want to use Triller as anything, use him as a joke, because nothing he says is of any importance. Nothing. He's just out to shout louder than anyone. He's just out to offend you if you allow him, and he will go low. He goes very low when he chooses to. So yes, he's going into room 101, along with Ghost Speaker's Corner. I believe that Ghost Speaker's Corner is an absolute terrorist sympathizer. I do believe he's capable of some sort of attack if he was pushed far enough. This man puts the prophet before his own family. He gets very, very, very upset if you even discuss his precious prophet. He's another one that should be put into room 101 and the lid put down and never let out again, because he gives Muslim people a bad name. So for anyone who wants to know about Islam and everything, real Islam, you should not be listening to the likes of Ghost, because he's not a true Muslim. He's a hate preacher. And that hate runs pretty deep. It's not a little hate, it's a big hate. Yeah. So when you listen to Ghost Speaker's Corner again, take it with a pinch of salt. The man is a hate preacher. Another one that hates his country, likes to call himself English when obviously he could never be English. He can be British, but he can't be English. Next I want to talk about, and yeah, he goes into room 101, obviously. Next I want to talk about Veli. Now, Veli, I've never had a problem with Veli. Never. I've always found him to be a bit of a comedian. His comments and everything. I mean, I took him to be a fair man. Recently, I've realised that he's a fair man as long as you agree with his politics. If you disagree with his politics, you get called all kinds of names. Literally. But apart from the political side of Veli, right, I don't see anything wrong with the man called Veli. The man I call Veli is a decent guy as far as I'm concerned. He hasn't said anything that in ordinary everyday life when he comes across and he's just talking about everything, normal things in life, not politics, right? We've got totally different politics. He's just a normal, friendly guy. I do not have a problem with Veli that way. But the Veli that likes to go on about politics, obviously we're going to clash. But Veli, the man without politics, no, I don't have a problem with Veli. So he does not go into room 101. He stays out on the, out of room 101. Next, I want to talk about Luke. Luke's come a long way since he first arrived here. Well, on these panels, right? He has learned how to curb his enthusiasm, right? And he has got into some good debates on Velis by curbing his enthusiasm, but he won't suffer fools, and I like that. He will not suffer fools, and I do like that about Luke. He's genuine. I think what you hear is what you get. I can imagine him being like that in real life, in outside life. I can't imagine him being any different to what we hear on these panels. He speaks the truth as far as I'm concerned, and he doesn't suffer fools. If you come across him and you try to be a fool, even if he likes you, he'll tell you you're being stupid at the moment. You're being this or you're being that, and that's what I like about Luke. So Luke does not and will never go into room 101. Next, I want to talk about Moon. So Moon, like many others, has had to have a look at herself and a look at her behavior, and she's come out of the other side a much better person. She'd probably come out the other side the person she was before she ever got onto these panels, because I've learned that's what happens. When you take a look at yourself, you come out the other side and you come out a better person. You come out resembling the person you were before you entered into this madhouse, okay? So for me, Moon has definitely improved herself. She's learnt from her mistakes. And yeah, she doesn't go into room 101. I'm sorry. No, because she's done what I did. She's took a long look at herself and decided to change it because she didn't like what she was seeing. And she's probably the person she was before she went into the madness of YouTube. Next, I want to talk about Esau. I thought Esau was getting better. I thought Esau was calming down a bit until recently when I realized that Esau will never calm down. He'll always be what he is, which is Esau. So he goes straight into room 101, along with Bleeding Heart, along with Afghan, along with Stephen, along with EIE. No, he thought, no, you're going to get locked in there and you're going to stay in there, right? I don't care if you like the people that are in there with you or not, you're going to stay in there, right? That brings me on to, I mean, there's lots of people I could mention who go on panels, but they're not worth mentioning, if you know what I mean. They're like not even worth talking about because they're not on there long enough. They're on there for 2 minutes and they disappear for 7 months. So what's the point in talking about the odd person that might pop up every now and then, but really has nothing to say? The next person I want to talk about is Jedi. So Jedi's done a lot of self-reflection, and he is trying to change, but what he can't change, and I don't think he'll ever be able to change it, is his view on Britain as a whole. Because in that video of the policeman in Manchester Airport, of the full video, he claims that the policeman hit the bloke first. And I've looked at it a few times and I can see that that just didn't happen. But Jedi is going to see it that way because of his bias. I kind of get that. But, you know, he has grown a lot and he is trying to change some of his views. But would I put Jedi into room 101? No, I wouldn't, because he's trying to change some of his views and outlooks, and he's trying to mix more with different people online, which is a good thing. That can never be a bad thing. But I think the core of him, he'll always hold these thoughts and feelings that he has about this country. Going to that march that day didn't fool anyone. Well, it certainly didn't fool me about what Jedi thought or felt. I mean, only a complete moron would think that that Jedi's changed his thoughts on the British people and what the British got up to, and his mind are still getting up to. You're never going to change that part of him, and you've got to accept that. So no, Jedi doesn't go into room 101. Who's next? Jupiter. So no, Jupiter has grown a lot, like Moon. She's learned from her mistakes, like we all have. She's trying her hardest to have a panel where people don't scream and shout at each other. She's trying to stay off the religious aspect of things. And she tries her hardest to be fair and keep it from personal arguments, because people love nothing more than to hear personal arguments for drama. And she is pulling away from that side. I've noticed that she's pulling right away from the drama, the personal arguments she's not interested in. And it makes her into a better person. It makes it into a better person to listen to. It makes it into an all-rounded individual that can have a conversation on most things, which is better because she hasn't got an agenda. She's just got she's got her own opinions, which she's able to voice very well on her panel. But she's also now willing to listen to other people's opinions without no arguments, getting personal, you know, or anything like that. She won't tolerate that anymore, and that I like. Right, so there's no way Jupiter's going into room 101, right? No, not gonna happen. And then we've got Nixie the Jew hater. Now Nixie has a room all of her own, and I call it the gas chamber, simply because she deserves to go exactly where she thinks that the Jews didn't go, and that is into a gas chamber somewhere. Nixie is a horrible individual. Do not get fooled by this woman. Don't, right? She has the most ludicrous thoughts about Jewish people. If something went wrong at Tesco's, you can guarantee in her mind a Jew was behind it. If something went wrong, she somehow correlates the deaths of those 3 children in Southport as something to do with Jews. And the other day, the idiot Smiler brought a video to Vellies showing the connection between Tommy Robinson and this guy who's Jewish. Now, I'm not being funny. It is not a crime to have a friend who is Jewish, but how that has anything to do with the death, slaughter, and murder of 3 innocent children is beyond me. I haven't heard that woman have 1 ounce, not 1 ounce of sadness about those 3 children in Southport. All she wants to do is scream at the top of her voice, it's the Jews' fault. It's the Jews' fault. Now, she lied the other day, blatantly lied, and said I called her the N-word. I did not. The only person I've ever called that is Esau. What I said was she was a half-breed because she was talking about pure bloods, right? In the chat. And it was only in the chat. I mean, it was not on a panel. It was in the chat. I mean, chat's a free-for-all, isn't it? Write what you want in the chat. And she took great offense. She took great offense, which was, I found funny. But then after a few days, I thought, yeah, you know what? She didn't deserve that. So I go over to where she left a link and I follow her onto this panel. Now, she's not going to know that I remember this, right? But I do remember it. So she's sitting on this panel with all of her friends, right? And I write in the chat, and I'm referring, you've got to remember, I'm referring to the bit where I called her a half-breed, right? So I say in the chat, Nixie, I'm sorry for what I called you. I didn't mean it. And I was angry and I got mixed up with what you were talking about. So I'm sorry. That's what I wrote in the chat. She got all flummoxed and was flustering, you know, like, oh yeah, she, that Wendy, she comes from the other side of YouTube. Yeah. Thank you for that, Wendy. I'm not an anti-Semite. I thought, huh? I literally thought to myself, what, hang on. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the words half-breed. I didn't like the fact I'd used that, right? But the first thing that come into her head was she thought I was apologizing for saying she was an anti-Semite. No, I was apologizing for calling her a half-breed. But I noticed that night when she was on the panel with all her little buddies and I heard your age come out from your friend, Nixie, that's how I know your age. It wasn't Moon, right? It was someone who was sat on the panel that night, yeah? That's how I know your age. So you can deny it all you want. I know your age. She took it as me apologizing for her calling her an anti-Semite. No. I was apologizing for the words half-breed. So what does that tell you? Does it tell you that she's lying about being of any mixed race? Because she didn't even go there. She didn't even think of that. Straight away it was, thank you. I'm really not an anti-Semite. And I was like, oh, she thinks I'm talking about that. And I just left. That was after I'd heard how old she is, because somebody happened to mention on the panel to do with how old she is and her children and her grandchildren, shall we say. But that's by the by. I'm just saying. And I thought, how strange. And for a few days, I thought, how odd. You know, that she thought I was apologising for calling her anti-Semite when I was apologising for saying she was a half-breed. Now, if she truly was if she truly is mixed race, surely that is, she'd know that's what I was talking about. But no. She thought I was talking about being anti-Semite. So I fucking question whether she is mixed race at all, to be quite honest. I do. I've questioned it since that night, but I've kept my mouth shut till now. So she goes into the gas chamber, right? She can have a bit of what the Jewish people had to have. The next one is Zara. Oh, please. Zara the loony. You know, Zara the one who literally cannot hold a conversation with anyone who has a different opinion for longer than 2 minutes without being abusive. I mean, please, how the hell do you have a conversation with somebody like Zara? I remember I was listening to her on another panel. I can't remember where it was. It wasn't Jupiter's. It wasn't Moon's. I think it may have been her own panel. Anyway, I'm making a coffee, right? That's why I'm away from the computer. So I'm listening to her talking about that she tried to make, I don't know, the Sunday roast the day before or something. And I hear her say, yeah, I put the chicken in, and when I took the chicken out, that chicken was N-worded. That's the only way I can put it. And I was so shocked. So shocked. I just couldn't believe that she was saying. And then she said it again. And she kept saying it, right? It must have been on her own panel. I thought, oh my God. And this woman is meant to be Nigerian, I do believe, half Nigerian or something. So as time goes on, I then receive information that clearly, she's not Nigerian. Yeah. Clearly, she's not Nigerian. But, and I receive information of other information. But anyway, this woman, please, no one take her seriously, right? You cannot have a conversation with her. All she likes to do, she's another Afghan, swear and shout louder than everyone else. And then when she's finished, try to insult more than anyone else. She's not happy unless she's insulting someone. I know, I'm trying to put my dinner on at the same time. You know what? I'm going to lose my temper with Jesus. Anyway. Yeah. Zara has got to be one of the most insane people I've ever come across. How she is able to bring up children, I do not know. Because she loses it over anything. I mean, literally loses the plot. If you disagree with her, she thought the other night she could come on and question me in this very passive-aggressive way. And I was just going to sit there and go, oh, okay then. Yeah. And no, Zara, I don't like you. You've been blocked in the chat by me. In fact, I think you're the only person I've ever blocked. Do you know that? And the reason I've blocked you is because you're insane. You literally are insane. In fact, you're a very... the things you come out with. I mean, where do you pick up language like that? How do you get to the stage in life where you're able, as a woman, to describe people in such disgusting ways? How and where is that able to occur? Because I don't know. I don't get it. Because as angry as I get, and all the things I've said over the years, I could still never go as low, thank God, as what you do. And Zara, if you're not aware of yourself, you need to listen to yourself. I suggest you do. And maybe you'd cringe and think, do you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. Is that really me? Why am I talking like that? Why am I saying this? You know, because none of the points you come out with are relevant. Like if you try to have a discussion with, say, Luke, and Luke, sorry, I'm just doing something, and Luke disagrees with you, right? I've noticed straight away you go into personals and you start screaming and losing your head, right? And that's not the way a sane person behaves. You know, like it or love it, you're not sane. I do believe you have severe problems. It's not just a case of a short fuse. I believe you have severe problems that you are probably being treated for, but not enough. You know, because you're so ill. So yeah, anyone who chooses to be friends with Zara and not understand that she's severely ill mentally, well, what can I say? What comes your way you deserve, because if you don't see or understand that she is severely ill, she'll walk right over you. Yeah, Taffy, well, she goes into room 101 actually. Yeah, no doubt about that. Taffy. Taffy has to be one of my favourite people on the internet. He is Taffy. He's never changed. Taffy is Taffy. And they, you know, they say there's a welcome in the hillside, don't they, in Wales? And that's always the way Taffy comes across. I know we can lose it. I know we can shout. You know, he's pretty loud when he shouts. But Taffy has been Taffy for as long as I've known him. And he's never changed. Not once. And there certainly is. When Taffy's around, you know, there's going to be a joke. There's going to be a giggle. He's just a nice guy. And he's always been the same. I think it was awful what happened to him about his job. I know who I personally think did that. Ghost Speaker's Corner. But, you know, with no evidence, I can't really prove anything, can I? But yeah, Taffy's definitely one of the good ones. And there's no way he goes into room 101. He stays out of room 101. Then we've got Christopher Morris, who I'm glad to say seems to have took a sabbatical, disappeared, gone, and forgotten about. He's gone into room 101. I do not think I need to mention any more about him, because he had to be one of the most disliked people on the internet, to be quite honest. Here's me thinking it's Thursday. Is it Thursday today? God, isn't it funny how you get mixed up with your days? Yes, it's Thursday, isn't it? Not. Why did I think it was Friday? No, it's not Thursday. It's bloody Wednesday. Why did I think it was Thursday? Hang on, let me have. I'm good. No, I hate it when this happens, when I get my days mixed up. Why was I thinking? Yeah. Okay, I know what happened today, and it usually happens on a Thursday. Yeah, okay. That's just me having a word with myself. But yeah, Taffy is definitely one of the good ones. But I'm looking at Stephen the piano right now. He's still on Vellies. He needs to change that to Stephen the fucking commie, right? Because that's who he is. He's a communist. Right? All the way. That man is a communist. So who's left out of the important people? I would call the main players. There's probably a few I haven't mentioned because this is going to be in 2 parts. I'm desperately trying here to think of the many. Becca. I don't have a problem with Becca. I know she follows her faith, but she's not extreme with it, you know. And I don't have a problem with Becca. Becca is never going into room 101. Becca is nice, and she has given me some giggles over the years. I don't have a problem with Becca at all. Woman that hasn't had it easy in her life, but has come through and is still, you know, surviving and living. No, she's Becca's all right. She stays out of room 101. Let me think of someone. I need to put somebody else in room 101. They're all shouting at me saying, we want some more people to talk to. You know, we want Afghans not quite getting on with bleeding tar. We need some more people to talk to. Okay. Who else can I put in room 101? But you see, when you actually sit down and think about it, there's so many people I've come across over the... Yeah, I know who. Yeah, I know who's going into room 101. And I can't stand this man. He is the most ignorant person I've ever come across. And his name on here is James Jones. Right? He's going into room 101 and he can talk Esau to sleep. Right? Because okay, so what happens in life? You get people who think they're highly intelligent because they use long words. And those people think that because they use all these long words and take 15 minutes to describe a sandwich, right? They think they're highly intelligent when they're not. All they do is use long words. And if you dare question them, why are you using 20,000 words where 10 will do? They will then become very abusive, which he does. Which, you see, the minute he became abusive years ago when I first met him on here, that was when I knew that this persona he tries to put across of being intelligent and balanced and wise was a lie. Because if you truly were like that, you wouldn't go to insults, you see. You would never drop to insulting people, but that's what he does. If he can't get his own way, his first thing to do is to insult people. I think, James Jones, you need to watch a bit more of Douglas Murray to learn how to be intellectual and intelligent and to insult the person you're talking to without them realizing you're insulting them. Now, that is a skill. And Douglas Murray has it. You don't, James Jones. You remind me of you remind me of someone that would go into this like Sainsbury's, right? You wouldn't shop in Waitrose. You're definitely a Sainsbury's shopper, or even a Lidl, or in fact, no, Sainsbury's too high for you. You're an Aldi shopper, right? So you would go into Aldi, right? And I've never been in an Aldi, by the way. Never, ever. So you would go into an Aldi and you would look at, I don't know, some jam that's been coming from Germany and it's got German writing on the front. But it's basically just jam, right? Like any other jam. And your other thought would get one of the people that work in Aldi, because you don't even understand what working class is. You proved that last night. And you would come in and you would get the guy who works there to come and talk to you. And you'd say, so is this jam? And the bloke would go, yes, it's jam. And then you'd say, how do you know it's jam? And the bloke would say, well, because it's jam. It says on there that it's jam. Yes, but you see, that's German language. And in language, and then you'd go off on a whole thing of, you know, about the German language and where the German language come from. And you'd be talking away and talking away. And by the time you'd finished, everyone will have left the shop, right? And they'd be holding the door open saying, can you leave, please? We're ready to close now. 5 hours later. Do you understand what I'm saying, James Jones? You are a fool. I do not look at you as intelligent at all. What you do is you pick a simple concept, any simple concept, and you go, you talk right around that concept and make it into something that it's not. Can you imagine you trying to teach some kids how to bake bread? You'd never get to the part where you put the bread in the oven. You'd be too busy telling them the origins of what seed the bloody bread came from. You'd literally never get to the part of putting the bread in the oven to bake it. That's how pathetic you are, James Jones. And you are one of the most people on these panels that I dislike, and I always have. Since the first day I came, everything you say is sarcastic. Most things you come out does not make logical sense. Why, I don't know. And you've got this thing with Banksy. Now, I understand why Banksy refuses to be on a panel with you, because of your habit, right, of trying to put people down constantly. And I don't blame Banksy, but I'm too stubborn. I will not run away from you, James Jones, right? You don't bother me. You don't intimidate me at all. Because when you start a discussion, James Jones, it's fucking laughable, literally laughable. Do you think you're on, what did that program used to be called now? And they used to all have funny hair. Oh, yeah. Was it University Challenge? Yes, University Challenge. And all these students would be sat there with their funny hair. And to me, they were all talking gobbledygook because I was too young to understand them. And that's what you remind me of. You're talking nonsense about a simple subject. When you were asked last night about working class people, you went into a diatribe about stuff that didn't even concern working class people. And then you said, you know, we have to realize which workers are the most important. Well, I think through the pandemic, we found out that it's the working class person that is the person that this country relies on for it to go around normally. You know, it's not idiots like you that want to sit and discuss the shape of a fucking clock, right? Or how the French came to be French, because that's far more important than talking about the life of a Victorian person and their struggles and how they had to struggle day by day, day in and day out. No, you'd rather talk about how the French became French. You'd rather talk nonsense. You're nonsensical. And a real academic, right, a real, true academic would be able to shut you down in 2 minutes. Do you know that? You are such a inflated fool of a man. It's quite unbelievable how stupid you really are. Even though you don't work, you prefer to go to the betting shop, right? I'm afraid, James, you're going into room 101 and you can bore them all to death with your long drawn out referrals to everything. Do you think you're sitting with a university challenge people or something? You're not. You're not academic. A real academic could shut you down in seconds because you'd be lost. You wouldn't know what the hell they were talking about. So that you need to learn from that. You need to grow from that. I think you're a fool. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of part 1. Part 2 will be here soon.